What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Heel Report, which is a part of TarHeel247.com. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Andrew Jones. And AJ, what a game, what a moment, what a rivalry. And we're going to dive into all of that here in the latest edition of our Three Things Postgame podcast. Before we dive into it, though, AJ, real quick housekeeping item. For those who've been watching our shows this week, you know what I'm about to say. 75% off promo is still going on TarHeel247.com. VIP subscription. Again, you get 75% off a 1-year VIP subscription. This deal ends on Monday, so get signed up. Carolina fans should be feeling really good right now after Carolina's 71-68 win over Duke. So come on over. You can be a Carolina insider too. Come join our awesome community of Carolina fans, the biggest community out there in terms of Carolina fans. So come on over and sign up. Links in the description below. If you click it, it'll take you right on over there. And yeah, come join our awesome community. We'd absolutely love to have you over there. And if you want to support our channel, that is a great way, and really the only way to do so in terms of a monetary value. And you get so much extra stuff for doing it. So come on over and sign. But AJ, man, I mean, we were trying to plan, because usually we'll do a little, we'll like say, let's talk about this first. This is second, this three. We're like, man, we're just going here and riff. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things in this three things, because there's just so many different aspects of this game that we can dive into. But I think we need to start with the first half, AJ. We'll talk about the Seth Trimble shot later. We'll talk about the second half that kept Carolina in it and allowed them to hit that game winner that they had in a little bit. But we have to start with the first half, because it was not smooth sailing for North Carolina tonight. I mean, they led for 0.4 seconds of the game, and that was the 0.4 seconds after Seth Trimble hit the go-ahead three in the second half. But I want to start with this 18-7 run to end the first half for Duke. They go into the halftime break up 12, 41-29, and you're looking at Carolina's box score, and Carolina's getting out rebounded. Second chance points or differentials huge. Points in the paint differentials huge. Those are stats that continue throughout the whole game, really. But I think this was the most important one. This was the biggest concern for me of why Carolina was struggling. Obviously, Caleb Wilson kept him in it. He was absolutely fantastic in the first half. But Henry Vasar, Jaron Stevenson, Derek Dixon, 3 starters for the Tar Heels, combined for 0 points in the first half. And obviously that script flipped in the second. But AJ, like, walk me through the first. Like, what do you think? What happened to Carolina? Did you feel like it just felt like Duke was in control? It felt like that for big portions of the game, arguably the whole game until the final 3 minutes or so. But just from you obviously being in the arena, what did you make of the first half, and why do you think Carolina struggled as much as it did at times?
Yeah, pardon me for putting my glasses on, but I'm taking notes as I'm going along. There's just the deep dive is going to be about 4,687 words, I think.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Duke had a plan and executed its plan. Whatever Carolina's plan was, Tar Heels didn't appear to intend on executing it. I think Duke took them out some. One longtime member of the media I spoke with before the game, he said, I think Duke's going to have the edge because they're consistently better defensively. And I say, you could be right. And Carolina was giving up so much stuff at the rim. God, they were getting when they were switching, they were getting beat. When they weren't switching, they were getting beat. It looked like they were going over some screens. They just didn't play well in the first half. Hubert said that they were too amped up, and as a result, just didn't play that well. The guy who's been in this game now 8 times as a player wasn't, because Seth has played in 7 before. He's the guy who actually scored Carolina's only points for 6.5, almost 7 minutes of the game, I guess it was. And then Caleb started making shots. I think Caleb's first 7 field goals were not assisted. Mm-hmm. Like, there just wasn't any connection out there offensively. They had a couple of decent stretches defensively when they were able to get back in a little bit, and then they would just give up bucket. Sarr, I thought that he had 4 threes. His foot, I guess, was on the line for 2 of them. Wide open. I mean, you don't come into the game expecting Dame Sarr to beat you, but we also said in our podcast, somebody like that's going to do something, right?
Yeah, we did.
He damn near did it for Duke. Carolina never really got that guy, which is kind of fascinating to think about it. Luka looked like the game was bigger than him. Other than that catch and shoot 3 he had, he just didn't play well. Didn't play in the moment very well. I thought Jaron in the first half Same thing. Didn't look like the game was almost too big, but he was why Alabama, the main reason why Alabama beat Clemson in the Elite Eight 2 years ago. He played against Duke in the region Sweet 16 last year. Derek honestly didn't look like he was ready for this for a long time, but he did slowly settle down. I asked Seth about that afterward and I could tell that the way Seth responded was like they knew they had a chance when Derek settled down.
Yeah.
And there was a sequence in the second half when it was the under 12 timeout was with like 10:51, and Hubert put Kine in the game. And Kine struggled in that minute, and Hubert just kind of said, I got to roll Derek the rest of the way. He put it because I think he was going to sit him during that sequence so he'd get both TV timeouts and the 2:51 of game clock in between where he could actually rest and get about 10 or 12 minutes in real life on the bench and didn't. So I think it took Derek a while to settle down. So I thought Jonathan Powell looked like he was okay for the moment. He hit a three, but didn't play a ton. Henry was getting pushed around, and Henry just seemed kind of stoic at times. Mm-hmm. Like he was trying to figure out, okay, this is pretty freaking wild here. And I gotta figure out a way to get myself grounded. It's like you're floating above the court and you can't get your feet on the ground and take part in the game. And when your arms are flailing, nothing happens. It's almost like that was Henry in the first half, and he was the polar opposite in the second half. He owned the second half. We'll talk about that later. I talked to him pretty extensively about what he did in the second half, but they just didn't play well. And Duke, I think it's fascinating, and maybe shame on Duke if this was a Duke podcast that, excuse me, that they didn't have a bigger, that they didn't capitalize on Cameron picking up his second foul and then it's still leading. Like they should have been more, right? And Carolina couldn't cut into it, and Gama just never got the game. Mm-hmm. And Carolina couldn't take advantage for the longest time, and that was an opportunity really for Duke to extend and to get that thing to 15, 16, 18, 20, didn't do it. And even in the first half, I thought that, man, Carolina looks like they're ripe for the kill. But I did tell Noah, I said, I have covered a lot of these games when someone gets out to a nice start and then everything settles down. And Duke got out to the nice start, getting its production from some of those other guys. And then eventually it became the Cameron Boozer show. But he finally scored. It took him, he had one field goal attempt forever, and that was a tip in. So I thought Carolina did a nice job taking him out. They forced 3 turnovers, by the way, on him with double teams. They only doubled him. I'd have to go back and look. By my count, and this is not I'm not checking a box here every time I saw it because there's so much going on. But when they double him 7 or 8 times?
Yeah.
Maybe. And he had 3 turnovers. Mm-hmm. 2 of them were passes and one was a travel. So I thought it was interesting, Jacob, that even when Duke extended in the lead to 12 at the half and Carolina had another one of their classic end-of-half possessions where the ball goes nowhere near. The ball was no closer to the rim than I was. That happens a lot for these guys at the end of the first half. They need to get better at that.
Yeah.
I actually thought 12 wasn't bad. It felt worse. It looked, if you didn't see the result of any shots, and let's say you're watching the game, but the basket's covered and you're not allowed to get any reaction to the fans or anything like that, it looked worse. But I do think that they started picking up their fight in the first half, and then it carried over significantly into the second half and really was magnified, and guys played better. So sometimes it's just a matter, you don't play well, you look like crap. You don't look coached, you don't look prepared, you don't look like there's a scheme. Sometimes the head coach is calling out 5 when you could be going in transition. Gosh, he did it some late when they could have had numbers, and lo and behold, they hit threes in the half-court sets on both times. So he's the head coach for a reason, and I'm not. And credit him, too. We'll talk about that some later, but it looked like it was an NC, as Nick Vitale would say. No contest, baby. That's what it seemed like in the first half.
Yeah, it was the Caleb Wilson show in the first half. I mean, 17 points, the rest of the team in the first half combined for just 12. I mean, and Seth Trimble had 6 of those. And Yeah, there's so many. I know one of the things that, and I saw a lot of. I want to bring this up because I saw a lot of people talk about this on the boards and social media too. And it was driving me. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't figure out, and it was frustrating to watch for me why Boozer gets 2 fouls, goes out of the game, and Shire takes a risk. He puts him back in. I forgot how much time was left in the half, but a little bit less than 9 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. And I'm like, go at Boozer, like try, because I think a third foul on him could really change the dynamic of this game. Ultimately, I guess it didn't matter because Carolina ends up finding a way to win. But we never saw Carolina even try to attack him. And there was a couple opportunities. I remember there was one where Stevenson had him in the lane, and I think he settled. Luka took him, and I think Luka drove and had an opportunity to kind of go into him and ended up taking this weird kind of fadeaway two that he missed. Yeah. And Caleb had him on the wing one time, one-on-one, and he pulled up and took a bad three. And I was like, attack him, because also as well, I mean, the game flipped in the second half from a referee perspective. I think there was they stopped calling stuff, which I'm a big fan of. I think there's way too many fouls in college basketball, AJ. I've talked about it so many times.
There should have been a charge called on Derek that one time.
Yeah. But AJ, there was 15 fouls in the first half. They were calling absolutely everything. So I just want to get your opinion on that.
Carolina in the second half. I'm with you. I'm gonna go back.
I just didn't understand that.
I think you made a really good point. I thought Boozer picked up his third when it was Bonga picked up his third. Mm-hmm. Gamba picked up his third. I thought that was Boozer. In fact, I started to type it was Boozer because he was right there, and I thought, man, Shire's going to hear it for this.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because that would have been really bad for them. And I think Boozer ended up scoring 9 points after that the rest of the half. So, yeah, I don't think it was just attacking Boozer. I thought Carolina was incredibly passive in the first half, getting in the lane. There were times where in the 4 games since they got back from California, Derek Dixon would go right to the rim. He didn't do it. There were times when Caleb would have done it, he didn't do it. There were times when Seth would have done it, he didn't do it. Jaron especially. Man, Jaron had a couple of sequences where he should have just – he's 6'10", he's thick, he's strong. He's just got to go up there and be an MFer, you know what I mean?
100%.
Make something happen. I thought Carolina played into Duke's hands because it's almost like Duke walled off the interior. And I know that that's what Duke wants to do a lot of, but Carolina helped that look better than it was because the Tar Heels like, we're not really supposed to get in the lane. And as a result, I don't know what they had at the end of the first half, but very late in the first half, Carolina had 4 points in the paint. North Carolina getting killed on the glass, 4 points in the paint, and 8 hitting threes. They're not going to win a game like that, but they did, Jacob. And that's
18-4. 18-4, by the way. 18-4 by the way in the first half. Yeah, it happened.
Yeah, well, there you go. And that's why I thought 12 was really a very good number for Carolina. Mm-hmm. They can overcome a 12-point lead against a team like Duke. They did, and if they play right, but it didn't seem – there were no indicators suggesting they were going to come out and play well, other than the fact that we've seen them do it before. Kansas, Kentucky, we saw them do it at Virginia. We've seen them do this before. They come out and play well in the second half and take care of business, and they did. And it required some chutzpah. It required, as I'm gonna shout out to Reich and Fuller, it required a lot of spinach.
I love that. That's fantastic
to do that. So I think Hubert said after the game that they didn't run to the fight in the first half, and they ran to the fight increasingly so in the second half. And by the time that game ended, the last several minutes of the game, it was like a reversal of the first half.
Yeah.
Duke wasn't the physical team. Carolina was. Carolina was the enforcer. Carolina was the dictator. And that switch, when Henry took Boozer and Caleb left and took whoever, I can't remember, Malik Brown maybe, Henry forced an off-balance layup that instead of Boozer, Boozer usually, it's textbook. It's like a video game. It goes right into the little square on the backboard, in and through the net. I mean, it's textbook, and it's every time. Henry forced a little contortion. The ball went a little higher off the glass, came off the side of the rim. Seth got the rebound. And then we know what happened after that.
Yeah, let's talk about what changed in the second half a little bit, because again, it was a not, I want to say a complete flip, because I felt like Duke it felt like a game for most of it, and rightly so, because Carolina never led until the final shot essentially, but it felt like a game Duke was just always in control of, but Carolina kept chipping away. And like you said, if we're doing a Duke podcast right now, shame on them for not taking advantage, because I mean, they led the whole game. They had many opportunities where a few opportunities were up by double digits or 9 points, and they just could never quite, as we talk about, put the foot on the throat, land the knockout punch, whatever you want to call it. But you have to give credit for North Carolina for that, because Carolina kept it a game, and Carolina found ways to keep it a game. It was from different people. As I mentioned, Henry Vasar, Jaron Stevenson, Derek Dixon, no points in the first half, AJ. 26 combined points in the second half. Henry Vasar was absolutely phenomenal in particular. I think he ended up finishing with a double-double, when things finished. So, and then it obviously culminates in the Seth Trimble 3 late, an absolutely fantastic pass from Derek Dixon, just found him wide open in the corner, and he hits it. But before we talk about that, we'll end with that in a second. But what changed? Because I tweeted out late in the first, early in the second, I said it feels like a game where, for a handful of Carolina players, the stage was just too big. And I think there's a few guys you look at, they didn't perform well, they didn't do much. But a few of those guys I were talking about was a Henry Vasar, was a Stevenson, was a Derek Dixon. And they ended up being massive reasons that Carolina was able to pull out this win in the first place. I mean, Caleb Wilson had 17 in the first half, finished with 23. AJ, he didn't score a field goal the final 13 minutes and 11 seconds. He only took, 2 shots in that time span. We're having a similar conversation again about Carolina's best player just going into this drought in the biggest moments of the game, and somehow, some way, Carolina finds a way to win. Again, I didn't think Carolina necessarily played a fantastic game by any means. I mean, you look at the stats, as I mentioned, 38-26 rebound advantage for Duke, 17-4 second chance points advantage, 36-22 points in the paint advantage. I mean, if you just look at the box score in a lot of ways, you're like, man, Duke probably won this game by at least 5, 6, 7 points. But no, it was Carolina who had the opportunity late. And I think a lot of it, as Riken said, rightly so, and it's great on him, felt like Carolina just had their spinach late. They made a gutsy play, and Seth Trimble ends up hitting a incredible 3 that will put him down in the history of Carolina basketball forever and ever. So a lot of different ways you can kind of attack this second half, man. But what do you feel like changed for North Carolina? Anything in particular you can kind of put your finger on?
Couple things. They know that they have made good halftime adjustments and been a better team in the second half for most of the year. Remember that whole time for a while, that 6-week period where Carolina just doesn't get off the good starts. But then they pick it up after a while. Okay, well, they went back there. They revisited a lot of the things that we've harped on, like bad boy, the Caleb going a long time without scoring. You want to know what paid off tonight? They've had plenty of experience with Caleb going long periods without getting many looks, without scoring. Guess what? They handled it the second half at Virginia, and they won. And he didn't do much the last 14 minutes of the game. He had 2 shots. So they know. I thought one of my concerns about this team early in the year was that they would become too reliant on him. And they haven't been. Now they rely on him in stretches. They relied on him 1,000,000,000% in the first half. If he doesn't put on a freaking show, a 1-on-5 Teen Wolf performance in the first half, there's no Seth Trimble shot.
He's unbelievable.
Right? But I think the maturity of him on this stage was to not get the ball and force it, was to allow the game to occur. Mm-hmm. So he's had enough experience not getting that shot. Now, I've talked to him a couple times about it, and he's like, I don't know what happened, and he didn't like it. But they have proven that they can have really lengthy, extremely productive stretches without having both Henry and Caleb. And I'll go back to Charlottesville. And one of the reasons why I noted this when I was on that ACC Sirius XM show the other day, to me, it was the 40-19 run in Charlottesville when Henry and Caleb combined for just 8 points. That means the other dudes had 32. That's them becoming more of a team. And what you saw tonight was them as more of a team in the second half. You saw these guys rally. Kyan Evans played, 1 minute, second half, minute and a half, whatever it was.
Yeah.
We're talking to Seth after the game, and Kyan comes over and starts having fun asking Seth questions like he's in the media. So there is no box score that says anything that has a graph or a chart or a number for chemistry. But, dude, you and I have been talking about it, right? We've been talking about how this group's together. They could have allowed this thing to get away from themselves. And they didn't. And I'll tell you, they gained some of this in Kentucky. Remember, Kentucky looked like they were just going to couple buckets, couple stops, and go up 17-18 and put Carolina away. Didn't do it. Kentucky left that door open for the longest time, and Carolina finally went through. Mm-hmm. Tonight, I thought that when Duke got to about the 8-minute mark, even though it kind of kept its lead a little bit, I thought that the Blue Devils were unable to get that next gear to put the Tar Heels away like they do so many other teams. Mm-hmm. And Carolina did enough to sort of keep the door open a little bit, and they finally went through. So we could look back on the season and find different games with different segments of, okay, well, that really became important. They did learn from that. And wow, that came up again in this game on this stage with all that was at stake, with the atmosphere and what it was. And they were able to battle through lots of things that really hurt them earlier. Mm-hmm. Remember, they had the long, lengthy stretch with Caleb not scoring against Michigan State. They lose. Same thing happened. SMU, they lose. Same thing happened again. What was it? Cal, maybe? Stanford? They were losing those games.
Maybe.
This is the second time, I think, in 4 or 5 games that they've been out-rebounded significantly and won. Now, when that happens, you have to chalk it up to a few things. One, I'm pointing to the passer and giving you major kudos. You did your research on the threes what Carolina shoots from three when they beat Duke. You nailed it, Jacob. 42.9%, I think, today, because those last 3 threes that went in. So they shot what they had to shoot in the end. So you called it, you nailed that one. Kudos to you. That's one thing. But to get to the point where those threes would matter and how they got those threes, they had to work to get them. It wasn't just run some clean, pretty set. There's 3, pop off a screen and get, catch and shoot, and everything's pretty. No, they had to work for those shots. And they got them. Henry had the 3, and then Henry didn't get an assist. I have to go back and watch the film. Sometimes
it's a blur.
Everything is a blur. Henry gets an offensive rebound, kicks it out to Derek, and then he goes out to set a screen, and Derek hits a 3. Like Henry was all over that. He had hit the 3 a few minutes before, and then, of course, the Seth 3. So sometimes you just dig down, and it's like a game where you give up 485 yards, you only gain about 300, but you win. You get a pick 6 for a score, get some key sacks, you start bowling up on 3rd down, and you get a good field position on a fumble, and you kick a field goal, and you get little points there. Next thing you know, holy crap, it's 23-23. We got the ball at the 29-yard line. Let's bring in our kicker and let's go home. That's kind of what this was like. Yeah, that's kind of what this was like. And statistically, like, man, there were 130 snaps in this game. We lost about 90 of them. But we won 40, and that's what mattered. 39, we would have lost. 40, we won. That's kind of what this was. And to do that, you've got to be tough mentally. You got to be tough physically. You have to stay together. Your coach has to tell you really positive things in timeouts. They told us, a couple of the players told us that they were using those timeout increments to cut in and play better. Hubert wasn't just talking about the lead. He was emphasizing playing better, doing more of the right things more frequently. And it kind of felt like they were playing uphill for about 28 minutes, 30 minutes. And then like they kind of gotten up to the top, they're looking around, boy, what a beautiful view. And next thing you know, they closed it out, racing down to their side of the hill. 9-0, 18-6 to close Duke out.
Yeah.
It was 62 to 53. And it was 18-6 the rest of the way. After the 14.5-minute mark, only one Duke player not named Cameron Boozer scored, and that was Foster's layup with 2:51 left to put him up 6. And that was their last points.
Yeah, and even holding down even more, 9-0 run to end the game. All threes, Derek Dixon, Henry Vasar, Seth Trimble. Duke didn't score a point over the final 2:51. So things just flipped on their head, man. It walked me through just it being there. I mean, I wanted to ask you this because I haven't talked to you about it, but the Trimble 3, there's been a lot of loud moments in the Smith Center. The one I've always heard, and I think Roy's talked about it, was the Marvin Williams put back in 05 as being the loudest he's ever heard the Smith Center. I'm pretty. You were at that game, correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
How loud was the Smith Center in that moment? Because from watching it on TV, I mean, obviously the court storming and having to get them off helped, but I mean, that is one of the all-time moments in the rivalry history, and will probably go down as one of the all-time moments in Carolina basketball history when you look back at it. It was an unbelievable shot. Wide open, he hits it, still have to hit it, but, man, it just felt like that place, literally the roof came off. It felt like watching it on TV.
Steve Forbes, Wake Forest coach, took a lot of heat when he said a few weeks ago, when this place is loud, it's the loudest building in the ACC.
I had a lot of Duke fans in my mentions, AJ, when I tweeted that. A lot of Duke fans in my mentions when I tweeted that quote.
Look, Cameron's awesome. I've covered over 300 games at Cameron Indoor Stadium. It's loud and it's awesome, but it's different when there's 22,000 people in an arena this design. That's a giant bandbox arena. So I was here for the Marvin Williams one, but we were sitting above the risers back then. So I was lower and closer to the court. Noise rises, doesn't it?
I think so. I think in some way, shape, or form, yeah, probably.
I don't know. My daughter knows science. The only thing about science I know is H2O is water. Ice is cold.
Yeah.
Snow is cold. That's all I damn know.
Not the only one.
Fire is hot. That's about all I know. So I think noise rises. So it was loud. It was, I would say it was very comparable to that, if not that, because there's a similarity with that shot and the Marvin Williams shot that just occurred to me right now. That Carolina team needed to get over the hump, that 05 team. Like the program had a dip after Dean retired. Guthridge got him to 2 Final Fours in 3 years, but the second Final Four team lost 14 games. So it was like the third losingest team in program history, and they were a Final Four team. That's Carolina basketball, right? Yeah, so then you had the Doherty era, which was a disaster, and Roy came in to save things, and that was his second year. And it's like, okay, we finally felt like maybe we caught Duke and we feel normal again. Like finally, this long, dangerous path, and we've gotten to the other side, and we're Carolina again. I'm not going to say that about this because we don't know what's going to happen afterward, right? We can go back now and say, yeah, they won a national championship. So that's an easy thing to say.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know where this is going to lead, but I have been saying I thought something's been different since California. And a lot of the stuff that they left out there was not a part of this game. And there were fragments of it a little bit, but they were able to self-fix and clean up during the course of the game. And you get a shot like that from the right dude, from the perfect guy for it. I asked him afterward, by the way, I said, are you going to have a new ice cream flavor just called The Shot? I said, Seth, it could be the worst tasting ice cream ever, and you're going to sell a ton of them. And he laughed. He thinks he might have to do that. I should probably get like 10%. But anyway,
I just hope the Ben and Jerry's is there tomorrow, because Franklin Street is probably a war zone right now.
Yeah, I think that shot cut the cord to California. I think that shot takes everything into a new realm. All the chatter about a lot of stuff has to be pushed aside. Now, they have to capitalize on this. They can't go to Miami and lay an egg. I don't think Miami is as good as we thought earlier, but still a very losable game. I think the back end of the schedule doesn't look as daunting as it did a few weeks ago for 2 reasons. One, Carolina's better than they were. 2, I'm not entirely sold on Louisville being fantastic and Miami being fantastic. And I don't know what Clemson's doing at Cal right now and all that kind of stuff, but I do think it's more manageable. State's been really damn good lately.
Yeah,
but we knew State was going to be tough, and of course going to Duke. We knew those were very, very losable games. But this is an opportunity to shift the course of a lot of stuff. And I don't want to, and someone say, oh, you're overreaching on this. I'm not overreaching on it, because the beautiful thing about sports is there are moments in time for all stories. If it goes off the rails, there is a moment in time. When things turn into 2022, there's a moment in time. Several. And then sometimes they connect. You have to add. A moment in time only matters if there's another moment in time that sort of takes on that little life of its own, I guess, for a while. So they have to, if they go down and win a buzzer beater at Miami, and they're like, okay, well, this is just getting silly now, because they are a very different team than they were out west.
Yeah.
A very different team. And I think you get there, Jacob, because your coach knew or felt like his message wasn't getting through as much. And I'm going to go back to Notre Dame. He let Caleb address the team before. Notre Dame was the first game after the West Coast trip. I come out here before the game. I have a bunch of ushers that are awesome. that I talk to. I look forward to seeing them as much as I look forward to the games. It's a big part of my experience here. And the ushers are like, oh, God, what's going to happen now? I mean, they're thinking like, man, so we're going to make it through and all that kind of stuff.
I mean,
I'm sure they're beaming right now with a scotch or a bourbon or a Diet Coke or whatever it is that they have, because this stuff has changed fast, and the coach's communication with the team has been a big part of it. Sometimes the best thing for a coach to say is nothing. Sometimes he needs to get on them. The messaging after Syracuse, I told y'all it didn't matter. Told you it didn't matter. Hubert didn't beat him up for it. You guys know what you did wrong. I don't have to beat you up for it. And that's smart, because he didn't weigh him down on it. And they weren't playing well early, and some people may have thought, well, gosh, they sucked it late against Syracuse and it's carried over. No, this game's separate. It's a separate entity. But they found the kind of mojo and gusto and all that other kind of stuff that they needed here. Chemistry, communication from the coach, players making plays. And they did defend. I'm going to go. I can't wait. I probably won't watch it tonight because it's, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, it's already 11.
I won't get out of here till 3 or 4 in the morning. So I'll watch it tomorrow before the Super Bowl. And I want to watch the switch when Caleb and Henry switched and Henry went on Boozer. And I don't know if he affected his lane in the basket, but he affected the release.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And after that, Seth's 3. And credit Derek for finding him. Hubert said they run that every day in practice, and that while Seth may not be the first or second option, Derek doesn't have to see if anybody's over there. He knows someone's going to be there. I actually thought when Derek passed the ball, I'm like, oh, that thing's headed to like the third row where Garrison Brooks was sitting, you know? But then I had no idea Seth was there for a split second, and there he is. He's been shooting the ball well from 3 lately.
Yes. He has been. It's just a crazy game, man. Just a crazy game.
Look, they won this game because of the guts.
Yeah.
There's no box score. There's the stat broadcast is awesome. I don't know how you can quantify guts. There's so many freaking computers and metrics out there. There's somebody all should come up with a guts metric. If they came up with the guts metric and it started today, Carolina would be number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
Now, at halftime, they would have been number 365.
Yeah, they would fluctuate per half. Yeah, it'd be a wild algorithm over there.
They found
it was, man.
Henry in the second half, Henry putting his body into the defender and scoring. He just said, I got to do this. We've seen him do that before. He's still learning. He's a first-time 30-minute guy. And it helped that Youngman was in foul trouble. But Malik Brown's been around forever. I was joking with Noah. I said, I wonder if Malik Brown's going to leave Duke as the all-time leader in fouls committed in the ACC. He's a foul machine. He's a physical dude. I would love to have him on my team.
No,
you
he'd be
need
great,
guys like that. You need dudes like that. And he got the better of Henry for a while and whoever he was dealing with. But I thought that, man, when Henry puts the body into him and realizes that he's stronger than he sometimes thinks, sometimes he plays like he doesn't think he's that strong.
Yeah.
But he is. And in touch, man. He's got some fingertips. He's got some fingertips.
He was good, man. He was really good in the second half. Yeah.
What a win. Noah Weisskopf and I are going to do a video after this. And Noah covered Ohio State's run to the national championship last year. He has covered Ohio State-Michigan games. I cannot wait to get his take on this, although I think I know. Because he was pretty much in awe of the whole thing. Josh Graham. Do you remember Josh Graham? He had the radio show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's doing a national show, and he brought his producer. His producer had never been here before.
Oh God!
But I think everybody's first game here should be like against South Carolina Upstate, and then go up from there. Because now he's never going to come back here again because it's going to suck compared to today. So I saw his producer after. I said, "So what'd you think?" What can you say? Half the people in the media, we look at each other, shrug, roll eyes. What can you say? I mean, you and I could have come on here and talked for 35 minutes. Like, I don't really know what to say. I have a lot to say, and I don't know what to say because this is one of the most incredible Carolina wins I've covered. And we counted it up before, but I've covered, I don't know how many Carolina games. I don't
Too
even know
many.
how many Carolina games I covered.
Too many.
Yeah, like 900, 1,000. I don't even know. I have to go back and count it up again. I'll do it in May. I'll do it when I'm at the beach in May, Jacksonville Beach, Florida. But I've seen so much stuff, dude. I've been so blessed.
Mm-hmm.
This is in that little group over here. You know, there's that, it's like a drawing or a painting of dead rock stars.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
If there's a drawing or painting of just this kind of stuff, someone is redoing that work of art right now. They're adding Seth Trimble from the corner to it.
They're adding his little that'll be on the thumbnail. I've already got the picture ready. I haven't finished the thumbnail yet, but the picture of him after he hits the three, and he's still by the bench. So this is, seconds after he hits the three, and he just does the put Duke to sleep. I mean, just an unbelievable moment, man. And that's why I started off the pod by saying, what a game, what a moment, what a rivalry, because it doesn't always deliver. That's a cliche. There is games where there's blowouts and it's not as good, but man, does it deliver 97.5% of the time. It's an unbelievable one, man. And just for it to end like that, and then the court storm, you got to get everybody off. I don't know if you probably didn't see this, but TV, like they were trying to get everybody off the court, and Seth Trimble, his dad's like with him and trying to like get him off the court. And Hubert's like yelling at Seth to get back at him. I mean, Huber was like trying to get everybody. It was a lot of post game stuff that obviously we're not going to go into here. I mean, some stuff that definitely should not have happened. And shouldn't happen anywhere in sports, especially when you storm a court. But man,
so
what a moment.
Unfortunately, I'm a techno dunce, and I had a video of the court afterward. I think two of them that I thought I tweeted out. But sometimes when you're in these buildings and you're going from upstairs to downstairs in the tunnels and stuff, where they don't all the way go through.
Yeah, I know Noah tweeted out the court storm. That's on our YouTube. You can see that on YouTube. I put that as a short on there. You can go see that.
Yeah, and I put my phone in my pocket, so mine it's 11:08. So we're talking 2.5 hours ago. Mine just finally went. So I texted the people. I texted because we couldn't leave where we were sitting. Noah's like, well, we gotta get that. I said, I would hold back.
Yeah, I don't blame it.
No point trying. And so I texted to like 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
But my tweet finally just went through. So
yeah, go check it out. We put a lot of stuff on our YouTube shorts today. I've been posting some of the stuff Noah's been putting out on our Twitter as well. But I want to end it with this, AJ. What a pass from Derek Dixon, by the way. I think it's going under the radar. And what an end to the game from him. He had it in Rupp, 5 points in the game, kind of won it for Carolina, hits the three late, part of that Niner run, and then has the assist where I didn't even see Seth standing over there, probably because there was no Duke defender within 50 yards of him. But he was like, he blended in with the bench on TV. I was like, who's he? Oh, that's Seth Trimble over there. Then he hits the three. So I just want to shout out Derek because we did talk about him some, but just what a find. I said it. It really did. And I know I've had way too many comparisons to Kendall Marshall and with him recently, but it really did remind me of one of those finds from him. So I just wanted to make sure I got that in there as well, because that pass is that path needs to get the respect it deserves as well, not only with the Seth three, but I thought it was just a fantastic find. He did exactly what he was supposed to do in that moment, where he easily could have tried to put a shot up. No, I mean, he found Seth in the corner, and it obviously resulted in a big-time win for the Tar Heels. So, man, we could sit on here for another hour talking this game, but I think we got to wrap this thing up, man. You and Noah got a podcast to do as well. So,
guys, this is an absolute blessing. It's the best rivalry in sports. One of my lifelong buddies, I put it up on Facebook. I always say where I am, post where I am, and he loves to come back and say it's not the best. He talks about TV ratings. Don't understand that today's more college basketball games, Division I games played today, the other day of the year. People are out doing other stuff and whatnot, so it's not going to draw the same way. Others, NFL game might, between the Cowboys and Eagles or something like that. He tries to compare the numbers, but this is it.
Yeah.
We're living in it. It's the church of Carolina basketball. It's the church of Tobacco Road basketball. It's a very real thing, and I hope it never goes away, because this is my 67th, and I was telling Reich and Fuller that I was just as excited today for this one as I was my first one. My first one, I was sitting over there, Rashawn McLeod, got hurt, cut open his head, there's blood on the floor and stuff. And that was number 1. Today was number 67. Number 67 is one of the best. One of the best because of the way it finished. There were times where it was not a pretty basketball game, but it was Carolina Duke. It's slug stuff. And I will say it also does deliver. You know why? Anytime you get to see those uniforms at the center circle, the jump circle, that delivers in and of itself. The pregame buzz building up, the building, the way it fills, and all the pageantry leading up to the opening tip. Ain't nothing else got that.
Nah, man, it's one of a kind. Yeah, you're right. It always delivers. It always delivers for somebody. I'll say that because if you blow out somebody,
you're right about some of the games, but in that sense, there's there's a lump and throat element to it that you get right before the game starts because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. Mm-hmm. But there's a lump and throw element because this is another one of these.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. And what a win for North Carolina, 71-68 over Duke on the Seth Trimble last second three. The Tar Heels lead for all but 0.4 seconds. But, man, that's all you need, man. As long as that happens at the very end of the game, 0.4 seconds is all you need to win a basketball game. So, all right, man. So I'm sure Franklin Street's still rocking, but we still got work to do. Still got a podcast to do. I got to get this up and edited and all that fun stuff.
I'm going to do a pod with Noah here in a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are doing one because I am interested to see. I really am interested to see his take, especially a guy that covered Ohio State, Michigan, and some big time football games, especially up there. It's just
which is the most.
Yeah,
I apologize. Should have.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just wrapping.
Michigan Ohio State football to me is the most comparable thing to Carolina because it's not just the hatred and all that other stuff. It's the incredible level of sustained success.
Yes, that's a great way to put it, man. And a great way to end this podcast. Yeah. All right, guys. One more time. Take advantage. 75% off 1-year VIP subscription at TarHeels247.com. Links in the description. It'll take you right over there. Come on, get signed up. Great time to do so. So much content going to be coming out for this game. I can't wait to watch David's film review, by the way. I'm going to be locked into that. Be locked into that like a box office movie coming out, man. I'm going to be waiting for that thing to go live on the website. But, yeah, man, if you want to see that kind of stuff, you got to be signed up. So come on over and do that. And our game thread was absolutely on fire today as well. I
don't have time to read. People tag me in the game thread. I'm sorry, I don't have time.
It was like 35 pages long at like halftime. It was unbelievable. Just firing off stuff in there. So come on, get involved over there, man.
This game. I love this game. I love that it means so much to so many people, man.
It's fantastic, man. It's fantastic. So yeah, come on over and get signed up. All right, guys. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell too. We will see y'all next time. Thanks.